Let us do pradhana and start the session. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Annado Sri Jagannatha Madguru Sri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The only Guru of three religions, Traitatiram originator, sensational writer, the author of more than 100 divine holy scriptures, the emperor of spiritual kingdom, Hindu virtue donor, Sri Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwaru. We are learning Traitatiram Bhagavad Gita. We are learning Atma Samyama Yogam chapter. In Atma Samyama Yogam chapter, last week we learned from 19th shloka to 25th Shloka. So let us recap what we learned. So the one who is in Brahma Yogam state, so what God is saying over here, so during the Brahma Yogam state, the Jivatma, the mortal soul should be like he should be in a steady state, like how the lamp will not shut off when there is no wind at all. So we came to know that when there is no wind, the lamp will shut off. That means your mind should go to the zero state, so not even with a single thought, so just zero state itself. So that's what he said over there. Then so whenever he is in the yogam state, what happens? His chittam won't work. It will not be having any task to do or anything to decide. Then in that case, what happens? The Jivatma, the mortal soul, will visualize Atma, immortal soul, and it will be in the Atmanandam state, the joyful state itself. That's a super joy state. Such kind of joy is beyond the organs, beyond the organs itself, what we can say sensible organs, beyond the sensible organs itself. So that joy is grasped by the buddhi, the intellect. Then the intellect will provide that to the Jivatma immediately, the mortal soul, and he will be grasping it in being steady. So when he is having in that state, what happens? So he will experience that one which is supermost joyful state. So that is called Brahma Yogam state. So it can be compared with the external world related experience. So in the external world, world, even though during that time, if he gets the biggest sorrow or the greatest happiness about external world related thing, so he never going to think about that, because he is beyond that. And he is already with the Atma. He is getting the Atmanandam, the joy itself. So that state is called Brahma Yogam. He will be following that itself. So, and what he has to do in order to get the Brahma Yogam is, so desire and all the emotions are there, right? Those emotions he should make it zero completely, and he has to deviate his mind from the organs matters, the external organs matters, and he should have the courageous intellect. That courageous intellect, what it should do, it should turn the mind from organs matters to soul related matters. That is what. So whenever it is done, then he will get the Brahma Yogam itself. That's what we learned last week. Let us move forward and learn about the 26th Shloka, what God is telling over here. यतो यतो निच्चरति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्यैतदात्मन्येव वशं नयेत्. So this slokam is also talking about Brahma Yogam itself. So unstable and the uh, movable mind, unstable and heavily movable mind, so to whichever the place it is running, you should bring that one from there and stop the mind itself. Then the mind will completely focus on immortal soul itself. That's what this slokam is talking about here. The mind is unstable, totally unstable, and it is very hard, very strong one, very hard. It can't be bent. Not only that, it is very, so it will go on to the very bad matters as well. So that is why about the mind, Vemana Yogeshwara Bhagavan told a poem on that. What is that is, కుక్కను తిన్నవాడు గురులింగ జంగడు, పందిని తిన్నవాడు పరమయోగి, ఏనుగును తిన్నవాడు ఎంత సుజ్ఞానియో, విశ్వదాభిరామ వినురవేమ. So where is the mind? Basically the mind is inside our body. Mind does not exist outside the body. So during the awake state, mind is totally occupied whole body. That means its shape is the body's shape. So when it is the sleep state, during that time mind will go into the Brahmanadi and it will stay there. So its house is there itself. So but in the awake state, the mind is completely unstable. It's completely moving here and there, everywhere. It's roaming everywhere like a dog. If you take the dog, what it does, it will go to a one house, it will stay for a second or 2 seconds, then immediately will switch to another house. Like that, in the whole day the dog will be running from one house to another house, one house to another house, like that. In the similar way, the mind is also will be doing that. Mind will bring one matter, stay for some time, then again it will bring another matter, like that. So such kind of mind, such a unstable mind, whoever could control such unstable mind, he is equal to the guru. So and also guru is the one who conquered the mind. That's why in the slokam also he said that kukkanu tinnavadu gurulinga jangadu. That means the one who controlled the mind is called gurulinga janga. Also the mind not only unstable, but it goes on to the very bad, low level, worst matters also. So if you think about the pig, so pig will eat very worst food, and the we can say it's worst, and we can't bear that one. So how the pig is doing, the similar way the mind is also will be on the good matters, not only on that very bad and worst matters also it will bring up, right? So such kind of mind whoever could conquer is called Parama Yogi. That's why in the slokam also he said Pandini Tinnavadu Parama Yogi. He described the mind as a pig. Earlier he described the mind as a dog. Okay, it's a mind is a dog, mind is a pig, and let us see. So next, so the not only mind is unstable and it goes on to the worst matters, but it is very strong, very stubborn. That's very stubborn, very strong. You can't bend that one. If you try to conquer that, what it does not, you can't achieve that. You can't get it, you can't gain that one. Even if you try in many ways also, you can't catch that one. So that's why its strength is very, it has a lot of strength. So even if you try to tie with a tie and pull towards you, so what it does, it will take you with it itself. Like if there is an elephant, if you tie a rope to that and try to stop it, elephant will pull you also along with the rope. So that's why the mind is compared with the elephant as well. So such kind of mind, if whoever is conquered such kind of mind, he is called Sugnani. So that's why in the Shlokamu also, Yenugunu Tinnavadu Enta Sugnano. So he said like that. So that's why the mind is compared over here as a dog, as a pig, and as an elephant. So whoever could conquer that such kind of mind is called the Guru itself here. So the sankalpas, the matters it brings, the mind brings the organs matters always. We have five sensible organs, right? Those five sensible organs matters are the food for the mind. So we have sensible organs, five sensible organs. So those get all the five external related matters information. That matter is grasped by the mind. That's why the food for the mind is five external organs related matters itself. So the whoever is practicing to get the Brahma Yogam state, he will not have any problem with the current actionable, current sensible organs matters, five external organs matters, because what he does, so he will be sitting in a clean place, preparing a clean place. He will go to a clean place, he will prepare the ground over there, he will put a skin on that. Before that he will put the darbas on that skin, then on top of that the silk, the cloth is silk, the cotton cloth he is going to put over there, and he will be sitting, and he will close the eyes. So he will not listen, he will not see, he will not taste, he will not get any sense of the skin. So he stopped all the five matters, right? He is not he closed all the doors of five external world related matters. So but there is a hard thing for him. What is that is sankalpas are thoughts. Those thoughts, how they will come to the practicer, the one who is doing the practice. So those thoughts come one after another, even though he stopped all the five external world related matters, but the thoughts will be coming one after another. But the one who is practicing to get Brahma Yogam, he has to warn the mind with his intellect. Intellect has to warn the mind, hey, don't bring that thought, stay there itself, like that. So by continuously doing that some, after some times, what happens, mind will stop for some seconds, and then again it will start its task. So like that he has to do battle with the mind. So after some time what happens, he will get some result, then the speed of the mind also get reduced to some extent. So in that state, the thoughts, the time between the thoughts will be increased a little bit. So that state, that time is called the state is called niramaya state. That state is called niramaya state, the thoughtless state between two thoughts. So that state is called nirvikalpa samadhi. That nirvikalpa samadhi means thoughtless samadhi state. So if the practicer, if the one who is practicing will is able to increase the nirvikalpa samadhi state time, so that becomes a good yogam for him. So by doing yoga sadhana like that, so after some time he may get up to the 15 to 20 minutes of the nirvikalpa samadhi state. So that state is called, really that is called the Brahma Yogam. Like that, when he continues that process, so Finally, whenever he does 1 hour of the um, time, whenever he sits 1 hour duration, so he may get up to 30 to 40 minutes of the yogam state. So if somebody is doing the practice for about 10 years or more than that, so we can say it's very hard to get up to the 1 hour of the yogam. So whenever he sits 1 hour in the sits 1 hour, there are some people, they will be practicing according to the guru's preachings, guru upadesham, according to the guru upadesham. So some people will be practicing for 10 to 15 years of that, and what they will do, they will control their mind onto a one thought itself. So they control their mind without going on to the other matters. Like that, they achieved it, and they could control their mind. So some people may get doubt that, so in order to control the mind, why it takes so many years to do that. So the real thing over here is, it depends upon the intensity of the practice what he does, but not about the number of years over here. If some people are very much doing the practice very much, very intensively, their intensity is very high, then they may get early as well. So in Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter, in 12th Shlokamu, what he said, so wherever the mind is going, from there you have to turn. So that's told in this slokam. And in the 12th slokam, what he said, Ekagram manaha. So manaha means mind over here. Ekagram means, Eka means one, Agra means on top of the one, zero is there. So you have to make your mind to zero state. So we came up to here, we learned something about the mind, right? Still there is something to learn about that. So what is that? Let us see. So even though there are thoughts coming to the mind, those thoughts are not bombarding at once. So if there are 100 thoughts won't immediately comes to the mind. What happens? First it will bring one thought. So after some time it will leave that, and it will bring another thought. So it will do sequentially, one after another. So that is the principle of the mind. So mind has that principle of bringing the one thought after another thought, like that. So this one is coming to our experience as well. What is the principle of the mind? So thought will come one after another. So according to that, so if one thought it brings, the intellect will be thinking over that. So that thought may stay for a while, like a minute or 2 minutes or 1 second, 2 seconds. So after that, mind what it will do, so it will leave that thought and bring another thought and gives to buddhi. Buddhi will think about that again. So in this process, there are some people who achieved the mind to stay on one thought itself. But here there is a problem. So still those sadhakas, those people also has to overcome that. What is that? Let us see. So what is the nature of the mind? Its usual task. What is the usual task of the mind? So it will recall the matters of the organs. It will recall the matter. So there are 5 sensible organs, right? Those 5 sensible organs will provide the matters, whatever they see, whatever they smell, whatever they hear, whatever they taste, and whatever so they get sense of the skin. Those are the 5 matters. So these matters, once it grabs, the mind is going to store them, and it will be bringing it back and giving it to intellect. So at any given point of time, it is going to bring one matter and give it to the intellect. So the mind will be on the one matter. So let us come to the actual point. So we need to get some clarity, right? So how what we should do in order to get the ekagrata, that means the zero state. Suppose there is a guru, he gave upadesham of some mantras like Soham, Rama, Namah Shivaya to his disciple. And there is another guru who showed him a picture and should concentrate on that. So he gave, one person gave mantropadesham, another person gave drushyopadesham. That means showing one picture and concentrate on that. So the disciples, both the disciples are doing the practice over that. So they continued doing that. So almost some years they spent, and finally they achieved a state where their mind is able to stay on a single matter for a longer time. So those disciples, one day they met with a guru. Guru was discussing with them, with one of the persons. During their discussion, this matter came up, how they could control their mind onto a single thought itself. So they said that their mind, they could able to put their mind on a single thought itself. So according to them, the mind which is going on to many things came into the single thought state. That is good. But in Bhagavad Gita, what God said is, Ekagram Manaha, the mind should be on to the top of the one, that means zero state. That's what the God said over here, right? So that means even your mind should not be on the single thought. You should make the zero thought state your mind. That is what the thing God is saying over here. So in case of these two practitioners, sadhakas, so what happened? So they, one person listened mantra from through his ear. Another person grasped the image or picture from his eye. So the mind which grasped those matters, those are the matters of indriyas. Indriyas means the sensible organs. From the sensible organs, those matters grasped by the mind, and mind is always putting focus on the matter which it got by hearing and by looking at, right? So but they did not cross over that. The mind is always on the matters of the organs matter itself, but it did not cross that. It did not go beyond that. So in this case, what we can say, they are not in the ekagram. They did not get ekagraha state. They did not get into the true Brahma Yogam state. So like that, there are so many people in this world, they are doing the sadhana like that. So at least they should think about that, and they should get the ekagrata state. So if not that, so even though they did practice for some years, 10 years or 15 years, it is like a radio mechanic who is doing the who is repairing the radio by putting all his concentration on repairing the radio itself. There is no much difference between this radio mechanic and the person who could put his mind on the single thought itself. So that's what we need to, whenever, if you could make the mind zero state, then only we call it as a true Brahma Yogam state itself. So in the Shlokamu also God said that to whichever the to whichever the place mind goes, from there you have to bring it back and keep concentration on the uh, Atma itself. So that way you can get the Brahma Yogam. So then only you won't receive any in matters of indriyas, organs. So we came to know about the difference between single thought and the thoughtless state, and also the what we have to do. The mind should not, whenever mind goes on to the some other matter, immediately have to bring it back and make your mind zero state. Let us move on to the 27th Slokam. Prashantamanasam yena yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutamakalmasham. The one who got the super peaceful state with the mind, he will not have any rajasa emotion. He is experiencing Atma itself, and he will not have any karma pollution, and he will be getting the joy with immortal soul always. Let's move on to 28th slokam. Yunjannevam sada atmanam yogi vikatakalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. So whenever the Brahma Yogi enters into the Brahma Yogam state, his mind will be focusing always on the immortal soul itself. When he does so, his pollution of karma will be getting destroyed, and he will be in joyful state with immortal soul always, and he will enjoy infinite happiness over there in that Brahma Yogam state. Let us go on to the 29th slokam. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. This 29th slokam also is talking about Brahma Yogam. The one who is in Brahma Yogam state, unification with God. So he will have the equal view on everyone, and he will be able to visualize Atma in everyone, and he will be able to see all the bhutas inside the Atma itself here. So let us see the explanation what Swami provided here for us. So the one who is in the Brahma Yogam, he will have the equal view, equanimity, we can say equanimity with respect to all the creatures over here. So he could able to see the mortal soul along with immortal soul in all the creatures' bodies. He will come to know how it is inside his body. So the same kind of setup is there in all the creatures' body. So not only that, he will think that, he will know that all the creatures are inside the absolute soul itself. So every creature body contains immortal soul, and all the creatures are inside the absolute soul itself. So the one who knows that, he is called the true Brahma Yogi. So the Brahma Yogi, he will visualize Atma within him, and he will come to know that for his body and for him, the immortal soul is the base. Immortal soul is the base, and the and he will come to know there is one power. So which is the which is the root for his body. uh, so he will come to know that there is one power, there is one power, which is the root for the immortal soul within his body and others body and other creatures body as well. So that is what the absolute soul. So what we call that power is absolute soul itself. So do you have any doubts? If not, let's move on to the next 30th slokam. यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वञ्च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति. This slokam is talking about three souls: Jivatma, Atma, Paramatma, mortal soul, immortal soul, and absolute soul. So what he is saying, whoever is looking at me in all the places, whoever is able to see everything within me, so I am seeing him, he is seeing me. That's what he is, Paramatma is telling over here. So whenever the Brahma Yogi goes into the Brahma Yogam state, we came to know that he will visualize Atma within his body, and he will visualize the Atma within all the creatures' body. How Atma is associated with immortal soul within his body, the same thing is there in all the other creatures' body. And also he comes to know that so all the creatures are within inside the Paramatma, the absolute soul itself. So such a way, whoever knows that the one is called, he is always seeing at Paramatma, and Paramatma is also saying that I am also seeing him always. These words are spoken by Paramatma itself. So the one who visualizes Atma, he can easily know about Paramatma itself. So the base to learn about Paramatma is there within his body. It is Atma itself. So whenever he knows Atma, he can know about Paramatma. That is why on Ishvara Lingam, if you see, there are three white lines. In the middle white line, to the middle white line, there is a red dot on that red dot. That red dot signifies that, so being a Jivatma, you should know Atma. Whenever you know completely about Atma, then you will go to the Paramatma itself. So if somebody puts the red dot on top of the one, there is no meaning at all. So that's why, so we need to know first Atma, then only Paramatma can be known. So we can identify how the absolute soul is there, its existence. We will come to know the existence of absolute soul by knowing the immortal soul. But you should not think that you know completely about Paramatma itself. So by knowing the Atma, you will come to know that Paramatma is spread everywhere. He is omnipresent, we can come to know. So that doesn't mean that you know entirely about Paramatma itself. So it is like experience, and it's like the difference between there is a difference between just seeing and experiencing. That's what here Swami is telling over here. So with life you can experience immortal soul, but absolute soul cannot be experienced by anybody with life. So whenever he gets liberation, then only he will become absolute soul. Until then, nobody can experience absolute soul. So let's end the session today over here. We learnt up to 30 shlokas in Atma Samyama Yogam chapter. In the next week, let us learn from 31st Shlokamam onwards. So let us do Mangala Prardhana and end the session. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Mahaniya Prabodhatmane Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Sadhurupaya Mangalam. Prabodharpnam to everyone.